Hello and welcome, friends, to another episode of RWBY Review. I'm Mookies, and today we'll be reviewing RWBY Volume 8, Chapter 13, Worthy. This is the penultimate chapter of the volume, so does it deliver on expectations? Let's dive in and find out. It's adorable that everyone looks to John as the leader to test out the portals. I like that he commits to his role no matter what. This John, the John of Volume 7 and 8, I can recognize as an excellent leader. Prior to that, I don't think he was worthy of his title, and his status as a tactician was questionable at best. So glad to see he's improved tenfold and become a really likable character. Well done, RWBY. They remembered his motion sickness too, so that's neat. Vomit Boy is back. Does anyone else think that the music playing in this scene when they step through the portal sounds suspiciously similar to the music that plays when they see Beacon for the first time? It's giving me real Volume 1 background music vibes, and I love it. Evacuation is priority 1, no matter what else happens. That's just tempting fate right there. I think this is the first mention of Vacuo's Shade Academy in the show proper, so that's something of note. Nora is also right. A kingdom's worth of panicked people are about to be dumped at Vacuo's borders. They're going to need all the help fighting the Grimm that they can get. Why does Oscar look like a dad who's fondly reprimanding his daughter when he puts his hands on his hip with that look at Emerald? It's so weird, but in a funny, adorable way. Like he's chastising her and reminding her she's on the good guy's side now, so she has to actively do good guy things. Also, Green Gang, Team Green, Ren, Emerald, and Oscar are all heavily associated with the color green. Plus, Oscar and Ren are the ones who stood up for or were standing up for, or at least willing to work with Emerald. Green Gang, rise up. Team Green supremacy. Jean using his shield as a glider and Nora using her hammer Mjolnir as something to ride like she has in the past this was so fucking funny. This is excellent comedy. I literally burst out laughing. Please, RWBY, this is the kind of comedy we need more of. Light and incidental and perfect setup, but doesn't ruin the serious moments. Excellent work here. Also, that was pretty funny. The guy who pushed the other guy forward and looked away and pretended he didn't. Adorbs. Yes, baby. Use that Huntsman license and show your authority. He's earned it and you'll love to see it. The Maya engine really is pretty, but I also really miss the Poser engine. I wonder what it would look like if they'd stuck with it and optimized RWBY through 8 years of show making.
Our job is getting Penny and the staff to Vacuo. Until then, we have to trust the others.
But what are you gonna do with the staff when you get there? Why are you taking it to Vacuo? Do you plan on putting it in the Vacuo vault or something? As the great philosopher Cardius Bius said, how does he magically know that the portal will take them to the outskirts of Vacuo? It was never specified where the portal would take them beyond the word Vacuo. How did Oscar come into possession of this knowledge? I feel like they did this sandstorm partially to hide the fact that they might, or not fact, but conjecture, they might not have Vacuo and its assets or aesthetic fully ready yet. Similar to how it looked like when it was just Sun and Neptune in the middle of nowhere, even though we know they're in Vacuo. Also, sea monkeys kiss when. Also, fuck, I hate sand, so this would be a nightmare for me, especially since looking at it makes me feel like there's sand in my eyes. It's very weird how there's 2 layers to Emerald's hair, and the innermost layer is just so geometric. It's like a perfect flat-lined 90-degree sheet of hair that's impossibly symmetrical. I love how her hair billows in the wind though.
Welcome to Vacuo.
Why the small pause, Ren? They do this all the time with all the characters, and I don't know if it's for dramatic effect or some other reason. Nora almost encounters Cinder, and I kind of want to see a lightning versus fire fight. Cinder would obviously win because maiden powers, and also because I believe her to be the superior combatant. Think back to our fight against Amber and Ozpin. There were 2 moments I laughed hard in this episode. The first was when the rock hit Jean in the head. The second is when Cinder blew up the innocent citizens and they scattered like dominoes and fell to their death. I could not stop laughing. It was so fucking funny. It's unintentional comedy because it's supposed to be serious, but the way they shoot out and fall to their demise, screaming all the while, their lives meaningless because they're minor expendable background characters. You'll love to see it. Characters in this show have ridiculously good eyesight. Remember when RWBY spotted Emerald across the huge Amity Coliseum Stadium, and when Maria spotted Emerald 2 across this huge Amity Coliseum Stadium again, and how Cinder just managed to easily spot and pinpoint where Team RWBY was? It's a wonder any of the characters wear glasses in this universe. Where was RWBY going? Look how RWBY just swept her cape over her teammates as she used her semblance on them all. Super cool aesthetic. I know Oscar mentioned the easy part, but I can't remember specifically when, and I'm too lazy to search for it. If it was this episode or the last, I think it was the last. How does Cinder know Oscar's name? Am I missing something, or did I forget something? Why doesn't RWBY use her silver eyes? I know the out-of-universe reason is because it would end the fight pretty quickly and that'd be boring, but what's the in-universe reason? Now it's an excellent place to pick up where they left off in episode 11, so I'll take back my words on the whole off-screen thing. They knew what they were doing. How does Watts know Neo's name? Did Cinder tell him? He wasn't there when Cinder introduced Neo to the gaggle of bad bitches, aka Salem's faction. Character growth, Cinder character growth. I also think this is the first time she's ever acknowledged her own failings, aside from when Watts chewed her in and spat her out, and the first time she's ever said the word sorry. Why does Neo trust Cinder after everything she's experienced? She should know better, but maybe the sincerity in Cinder's apology caught her off guard, and Neo is the magnanimous person. The look they shared was so meaningful, and Neo said she'll fuck Cinder up if she welches on their agreement without words. So Cinder is the one who used the third and final question for this era. Does this mean it's going to be 100 years from the first of the 3 questions Jin was asked, or 100 years from the third and last one? Does this mean Jin is functionally useless and only relevant now as a MacGuffin and part of the Relics collection storyline? Well, Jin showed up if summoned now. Will she ignore any summons for 100 years because she's unable to answer any questions now? How will Salem feel if and when she finds out about the last question being used up by Cinder? Also, I appreciate that the heroes got one question and the villains got one question, and we don't know who got the third, probably Ozpin or someone, or Ozma in his previous incarnation. I don't know how I feel about the use of the last question as well. I mean, tactically, it was clever for Cinder to use it so she can circumnavigate around RWBY's plans and therefore have the upper hand. That was a smart decision on her part, but I'm thinking about what if Jin was asked about the location and identity of the Summer Maiden, of where the beacon relic was hidden and where to find it, and stuff like that. I think there could have been much more interesting questions asked, so I'm kind of mixed on how to feel about this. It's not that it was a bad question, it just kind of feels underwhelming given the possibilities. Jin doesn't want to answer that question, but she's compelled to. You can tell she's grown attached to RWBY, and so it's heartbreaking to see Jin have Why'd I say like Jean? So it's heartbreaking to see Jin have to answer Cinder's question at the expense of RWBY and her team. Yes, finally. I've been wanting to know how Cinder would react to Emerald's defection and how she's now on the good guy's side, and it's clear she's surprised and then contemplative, as well as frustrated. I wish I had seen something more visceral or at least more intense, but I'll settle for the shock because at least I finally got what I was waiting for. Wait, so this flashback is before they went to the vault, right? Because RWBY said when we're done at the vault, we'll take Penny and the staff. How did RWBY know there'd be a portal at the CCT center specifically? They never asked for one there explicitly, just all over Atlas. I guess she just hazarded a guess, but I'm still a little curious how she was keen enough to know where a portal will end up before they even asked for it. So Cinder is playing nice with Watts and Neo now. Also, why does this man still have a black eye? It's been all volume long and his aura still hasn't replenished. I know this takes place over the span of 2 days, but surely that's long enough to fix a black eye at least. I never mentioned it before, but the space between the bones in Cinder's grim arm squicks me the fuck out. Thanks, I hate it. I really wish it had just been a solid, fully grim arm without that ick factor. Then again, I suppose the ick factor is what they are going for. The sweet, almost Cinderella-like music playing as Cinder and her gaggle of bad bitches show up to terrorize and murder all the CCT Center employees is hilarious in juxtaposition with the subsequent murders and that jump cut. And Loki also laughed here too. Neo dancing about and knocking that guy out with her umbrella was great. Cinder has learned the power of friendship and is applying it to her villainous team. That, in conjunction with her knowing Team RWBY's plans, means that Team RWBY is fucked. If the second villains learn to cooperate and utilize the power of friendship, it's over for these bitches. So I was right, it was Watts who cut the communication across the entire kingdom. Good to know. Ew, was that blood on the apple that Watts wiped away before biting into it where the blood was? That's nasty and unsanitary, you nasty. Also, RIP Bill. Also, RIP Screaming Husbando. I miss you and your lovely screams. Wish I could have heard them one last time as Cinder murdered you. You'll be in my heart forevermore. I like how Vine just gives up and deactivates his semblance as soon as Crow says Ironwood is down. Also, how did Crow know Ironwood was down? Wasn't his meeting with Winter and Marrow before they actually enacted the plan to take him out? Watts is viewing them through that Elysian night, and I guess he's trying to eliminate loose ends, but why did Marrow run forward to stop it? Why didn't he use his stay semblance on it? Sure, it would have freed the Aesop's, but if he's gonna try and stop the thing, might as well use his abilities. Also, I don't believe for 1 second that Crow and Robin can't handle a single Elysian night, when Crow by himself has been shown to absolutely obliterate dozens of them during the fall of and battle of Beacon. Crow literally just stood there, as did Robin, and it was up to Marrow to save them. Crow is a dozen times more experienced and skilled than Marrow, and has already shown he can handle the Elysian nights no problem. This is the most contrived scenario to knock out Marrow and enable Harriet and Vine to escape that I have ever seen. So fuck Elm in particular, I guess, huh? That quick look exchange between Crow and Robin, that's an oh shit, we're fucked, bestie look if I've ever seen one. Ironwood's eyes are so pretty. Speaking of contrived, Ironwood's cell just so happened to have its hard light dust barrier flicker and fizzle out is awfully convenient. As is Winter apparently leaving Ironwood's guns and gun on the floor right outside his cell. Seriously? She couldn't have put it up in lockup like Crow and Robin's weapons? Why would she leave it just lying there? Are the writers even trying at this point?
you're going to open mine too, right?
Sure thing.
Now that's what I call schnee dust. I know Jacques is a bad man, but did he really deserve that? Probably, yeah. But still, that was fucked up. Look at this cinematography. Look at this camera work. Look at the dynamicism of it all. Team RWBY attacking together instead of just them going one at a time while the others just stand there with their dicks in their hands. This is what I'm talking about regarding Cinder being a very skilled combatant and one of the best fighters in the show, even without her maiden powers, as she's able to take them on 4v1. Jessica Negri's voice work is absolutely marvelous, and she's come such a long way. It's fantastic to hear such growth and command of her voice in her role as Cinder fall. Well done. The flowing spiral tower of flames is visually beautiful and so aesthetically pleasing to look at. The way they render fire in the Maya engine is absolutely gorgeous. Now RWBY is gearing up to use her silver eyes against Cinder, but I'm still waiting on an in-universe reason for why they couldn't have done that before. Cinder distracting Team RWBY with the spectacle of her fire spiral and monologuing about the villainous power of friendship is tactically clever, and is buying Neo time to go in for the kill and thus fulfill the agreement she made with Neo regarding killing RWBY. Why does Yang suddenly notice the stranger approaching when she was so focused on Cinder seconds ago? Why would Neo, who doesn't even look like Neo, catch her eye when everyone was running around in a panic and causing a commotion? I suppose you could argue that it was Neo's slow approach that gave her away, but I maintain that there was no reason for Yang to be alerted to Neo's presence, especially when she was under the guise of civilianness. Why doesn't Neo have to lift her illusion to go in for the kill? It's the same question I have with Emerald not using her semblance hallucinations to mask her teammates when they attack their opponents. Why does Neo have to deactivate her semblance, overactive imagination, before she goes in for the kill shot? It makes sense for the viewer, but not in universe, which is where we keep coming back to. Since when is Neo's umbrella Hush powerful enough to obliterate someone's aura in a single hit? Was Yang's aura already running low during her fight with Cinder? We never got an indication that it was, because we didn't see Yang's aura shimmer the way they always do when it's running low, and when it breaks. Why is Neo going in for a slash with her weapon when it's clearly designed and better suited for piercing and fencing? She should have shish kebabbed RWBY instead of slashing at her. Unless Neo's so ungodly powerful now that she can break auras in one hit like Adam's moon slice could, or Ironwood's guns did. Think of Councilman Sleep. Why would Yang bounce instead of just slam flat into the ground at impact? I get why RWBY and Weiss are shocked and scared, but why is Neo so surprised and taken aback? Was it because she wasn't expecting her hit to connect with Yang in the spectacle of seeing someone falling off the pathways? Was it because it all happened so fast? Was it because she was surprised that the girl she once fought and wiped the floor with is about to seemingly die? Or is she angry because her attack didn't connect with RWBY and instead took Yang down? Notice how Blake is already on the move before anyone else is even done reacting. RWBY and Weiss are paralyzed with fear and worry, but Blake is dashing to save her girlfriend before anyone else can even blink. You wanna hurt? Here's something to think about. This is perhaps the time that Yang has faced the most consequences for her actions. Remember her line here?
Let's do what we do best. Charge blindly into danger!
She's consistently shown this behavior because she's willing to risk herself and prioritize and protect those she loves or cares about, and we see that clearly in all the times she's done so. Such as... That's some excellent build-up, and all her successes just makes her failure that much more hard-hitting and angsty. I don't know why I said hard-hitting like that. Either Yang fell through some sort of barrier, or she got dusted just like Jacques, and since I highly doubt they'd kill off a titular character, I'm going to guess she's been transported somewhere else. I also suspect that with all the emphasis on the fairy tale of the girl who fell through the world, it turns out Yang is in fact that girl, or went back in time and became the fairy tale or something along those lines. There's zero chance they'll have killed off Yang. This is just like when they teased Weiss's death, but I think this time has at least more impact than that one because everyone knew Weiss would be okay. Yang is gonna live, but is she gonna be okay? That we don't know. At least I don't. Blake screaming out for her girlfriend so loudly that Penny can hear it all the way on the other side near the portal, which she absolutely should have been through by now if she hadn't been walking at a snail's pace. That's some Bumblebee shit right there. Return of feral Penny. Let's go. I love that Neo didn't dawdle, and the second she got over her shock, she embraced her anger again and immediately went in for the kill. Why is Neo using her sword like it can slash people? Remember when she used it here, the way it's meant to be used? Blake was almost over the ledge, and she was trying to yeet herself after her girlfriend. And if that doesn't mean she's in love with her, I don't know what does. It was only through Weiss's intervention that Blake didn't fall after Yang. Blake sobbing for a few seconds before going feral with rage is a mood. What was Cinder doing this entire time while Blake and Weiss were preoccupied and Neo was dealing with RWBY? How does Neo also always magically know when to use her semblance in combat? Even when taken by surprise, she always somehow manages to turn the tables by revealing that it was an illusion after the fact. Is her foresight just that ungodly? It reveals that she's fighting RWBY a good distance away from where Blake had chest shattered her. So how the hell did RWBY and Neo teleport to over there? Also, this is the first time Blake and Neo have fought. Neo's officially fought 3/4 of Team RWBY. Now all that's left is for her to fight Weiss, and she'll have collected a full set of battles against each of them under her belt. I really like when RWBY tries to sweep someone's legs out from under them using crescent rows. It's one of my favorite moves of hers. This is the first time Weiss and Cinder have ever fought as well, and honestly, Weiss's fighting style has gone to shit. All she knows how to do now is skate with her glyphs and summon. The skating doesn't even look that good. I wish they figured out how to animate her like she used to fight, a la the White trailer and volume 1 to 3 of RWBY. I understand that's not feasible right now against Cinder, who is a flying opponent, but the point remains. Did Cinder just burn through Weiss's glyphs? Holy shit. Penny is sorely regretting letting Cinder live and letting Emerald escape with her. Her moment of compassion for Emerald, her eventual teammate, has caused her to lose Yang. I bet she hates the fuck out of herself, and it's even worse because she probably even feels more now that she's physically human. It won't be long now until she cries for the first time. What a solid punch. Good job, Penny. Cinder probably is surprised that her jaw isn't broken by a metal fist. I wonder if she's deduced that Penny is a human yet. Why did Cinder just stand there though? Remember how I keep talking about opponents who just stand there and watch someone from far away or high up come at them, and they just stand there and take it? The way Torchwick did for Sun, RWBY did for Oscar, Mercury did for RWBY, Ironwood did for Nora, and now Cinder did for Penny? Why? Also, if you missed it, this was Penny trying to summon her mechanical sword's floating array. She's confused for a second because she forgot she's not a robot anymore, and thus can't control them with her strings the way she used to. Or at least she doesn't have her backpack that houses them on her. Now she has to rely on maiden magic to manifest a new form of floating array, the way Cinder relies on maiden magic to manifest a new form of her sword's midnight. I don't like the look of her new floating array though, I much prefer the old one. Yes, Cinder did learn her lesson, and I'm so glad she did. She's back to being a competent villain again, the way she hasn't been since volume 3. It's been 5 volumes, guys. 5. It's long overdue. Weiss looks so stupid when she's skating on her glyphs. It looks ridiculous. Why can't they just animate her blitzing a path using her glyphs the way she used to be able to do? It would be even easier to animate because none of her body parts would be moving. Weiss has ridiculous range with her glyphs. Her semblance really is one of the top tier ones alongside Emerald's hallucination and Neo's overactive imagination. John, who are you really protecting with that shield? It's so tiny it doesn't even cover all of you, but I suppose it's better than nothing. Nice Caroline Cordovan cameo. Ooh, try and say that 5 times fast. We've seen her a bit in the last episode or two, but here she looks much younger on what is either a military recruitment ad or just a bombastic way for Cordo to remind everyone the might and grace of that Atlesian military. Cinder's really clever with her attacks now too. I've always really enjoyed when she sends an attack at someone, something physical like a sword or crystals, and detonates them. It gives her incredible range, which rounds out her skill set since she's also a very accomplished combatant and one of the best in the series. Excellent quick thinking, Weiss. Also, now that I think about it, why didn't Weiss use her attraction glyph on Yang to pull her back before she fell too far? And why didn't RWBY use her matter teleportation semblance to fly down and pick up Yang before she disappeared? I understand they're shocked, but so is Blake, and she still managed to react. What is Blake thinking? RWBY die challenge. Finally, Valiant has come to his senses. Took him long enough. Still don't like him all that much, but I like him better than I did before. It's about the principle? About the loyalty? To who? To what? Also, bitch, what the fuck are you on? What do you mean Clover would see this through? In what universe would Clover, the main priority is the safety and evacuation of the people, Ebby, be compelled to detonate a bomb to kill millions of people? What the fuck is she on about? What is she smoking? Also, is slamming your fist on a bomb really the smartest thing to do? I don't care about Harriet. I don't care about her feelings, about her little temper tantrum, or her breakdown, or her crocodile tears. She is hands down the worst Aesop. And who the fuck cares if Clover is important to Harriet? Why are Harriet's feelings so important? Clover was important to all of the Aesops, so you don't see them acting the way she does. Even Vine came to his senses, and I have no doubt Elmo's 100% against the bombing of the Mantle citizens, given her prior hesitation and doubt in Ironwood's willingness to go through with it. Also, for the love of God, if they write in a romance between Clover and Harriet, I'm gonna fucking scream. There has been zero indication of it, and we've seen what happens when you write in a romance that comes out of nowhere. See Toradana, aka Adam and Blake. Robin ruined the end of that conversation, and I really want to hear what would have been said. Also, was her screaming really necessary? Who was there to hear her? It's like the screaming someone inexplicably does when they're about to attack, thereby telegraphing their attack. It's pointless and honestly kind of silly. But if Robin kills Harriet, I'll look the other way. Harriet is even willing to kill her own teammates in order to be able to kill millions of people. Harriet is a genocidal piece of shit. So is Ironwood, but at least he's hot. I will acknowledge there will be definitely a double standard regarding Harriet and Ironwood. Harriet will be hated while Ironwood will be excused. It's not fair, but it's what's gonna happen. Fuck Harriet anyways though, evil ass bitch. I hate her, clearly. Also, Harriet 100% logically should have fallen with Vine when she kicked him. There's no way she could have landed back on the ship with how she kicked him, not even if she used him as a springboard to bounce off of, especially because the ship is still flying. So where she would have landed a second ago isn't where the ship would have been a second later, since it's flying, you see. Why should Harriet be suspicious of a bird? She has no idea that Crow can transform into one. I wish he had skewered her though. Also, one of the best transitions for Crow that I've seen yet. This match has busted a window with intent to kill. We stand. Why isn't Harriet using her super speed to outpace him? Also, is Crow and his bad luck semblance really the best place to be near when you're an active bomb? It says no signal, Winter. Why are you even bothering to talk to your obviously dead Scroll? Winter took her sweet ass time to react to that, and Ironwood took his sweet ass time to shoot at her. Why? He just tried to kill her. Why is he giving her a chance to comply now? It's like when Adam tried to kill Blake and then a second later decided just to watch her go. It's inconsistent characterization scene by scene, and it makes no sense. Okay, Winter, that was badass as fuck. Especially the shing sound when her nameless weapon unsheathed itself. Your tear is meaningless, Ironwood, especially given you're about to try and kill her. They're really trying to give him a reluctant characterization, and so far he's been driven to the point of willing to murder Marrow, murder millions of people, literally murder Jacques as well as Councilman Sleet. But he's hesitating at Winter? What happened to his stupid metal semblance, the one that drives him to do whatever it takes? Why does it hesitate for Winter? Vacuo is likely to be the most visually boring of the four kingdoms, and I don't know how they're going to make it interesting. Vale was gorgeous, Mistral was alright, Alice was amazing, and Vacuo is just a bunch of sand. Thanks, I hate it. Ren masking that many people for presumably a decent amount of time, and without John's aura amp to power him up, is very impressive, even if it's questionable, since I believe we've seen Ren's aura break even with John amping him up, I think. At least I think I've seen a scene. Try and say that 5 times fast. Where Ren couldn't keep up with his masking abilities despite John lending him some aura. I think it was early in Volume 8 when they were on the bikes. Emerald is correct. Penny would be able to deal with the storm since she has the mating powers and can control weather. Who's having this flashback of Ambrosius? It can't have been Oscar, because he wasn't there when Weiss said that, and they never met up with Team RWBY and caught up since then. How does Oscar or Ozpin know about the one-way ticket to Vacuo caveat? Also, congratulations RWBY for duping me. I like that you didn't go for the obvious route of Ambrosius taking things literally would fuck up Penny's humanization, but instead save that little twist for a seemingly innocuous line that has serious consequences. Well done. Why would Weiss have said one-way ticket to Vacuo though? Wouldn't she just want maneuverability between the portals? I know she probably didn't realize how damning that condition might be, but considering Team RWBY were very careful in their wording with their previous wish, I'd have thought they would take the same care for the next wish as well. I like these backgrim, they look cool. Ah yeah, Team Green is on the case. Green Gang rise up. A lot of developments happened this episode, and I kind of feel overwhelmed and excited and nervous and scared and hyped for the final episode of Volume 8 on the 27th of March. Did this episode live up to the hype of the penultimate episode as it should? I'd largely say so. I certainly enjoyed it despite its flaws. I definitely had a lot to say since the script is 10 pages long. What do you think about the episode? Did you think Sinner learned her lesson? Did you like how Sinner learned her lesson? How do you feel about Yang and her fake death? Are my fellow Bumblebee stands gonna sup on angst for a while? Do you hate Harry as much as I do? Is Ironwood going to get his ass kicked by Winter? Or will he obliterate her the way he did her father? Let me know down in the comments below. I'll see you next week for the finale, and then I'll probably be going back to Volume 1 to try and catch up doing reviews for it, and all the way up to Volume 7 since I'll have finished off Volume 8 reviews by early April. Keep theorizing and let me know what you think. I'm on Twitter at Mookies, Mookiez. Until then, take care, friend.